Welcome to Mr. Brandt's 5th grade everyday math review. In this lesson, we're going to be going over lesson 4.14, which is addition and subtraction of money. On the home link for this lesson, they give you a handful of number stories dealing with money. And so I've got a couple that we're going to go over. The first one starts with, you paid $3.57 for a chili dog at the Colonel's baseball game. You also bought some ice cream and paid $2.86. How much did you pay in all? Since we are buying one thing, a chili dog, and we're buying another thing, and we want to know how much we paid all together, that is going to be an addition problem. And like what we've done with our previous lessons here, since we're dealing with money in decimals, we have to make sure we add up the decimal points. So I am going to include the dollar sign for this one. So we have $3.57, and to that we're going to add $2.86. Notice the dollar signs are in front. Dollar signs do not go behind the numbers, they go in front of the numbers. So we'll go ahead and add that up just like we normally would. So 7 plus 6 is 13. 1 plus 5 is 6. Plus 8 is 14. 1 plus 3 is 4. Plus 2 is 6. So between the chili dog and the ice cream, it'd be $6.43. And we need to make sure we include that dollar sign in our answer. Okay, our second problem here is your Aunt Mary gave you $10.11 for your 11th birthday. You decided to buy a new sticker for your water bottle and spent $3.26. How much money did you have left? So start with our dollar sign, $10.11. Now what are we going to do with the other number? Well, $10.11 is our starting point, and we got rid of $3.26. So that's going to be a subtraction problem. And again, our decimals need to be lined up. So now we can go ahead and subtract. I can't do 1 subtract 6. I can't do 1 subtract 2. I can't do 0 subtract 3. So I have to come all the way over to this 1, and I'm going to borrow from this. And I need to work my way back all the way to the hundredths place, to my cents place. So that's a 10, and then we're going to turn that into a 9, 11, and make that a 10. And we're going to finish up with that being an 11. I know that's kind of small and hard to see, but so we're going to have this be an 11. So 11 subtract 6 is 5. 10 subtract 2 is 8. And I've got my decimal point. 9 subtract 3 is 6. So after subtracting, that would leave us with $6.85. Again, the dollar sign goes in the front. You may notice I put 2 lines for my dollar sign. Up here it only has 1. I'm just used to putting 2 in. It doesn't really matter. It means the same thing. All right, for our practice problem, they give us some division to do, and it's with a 2-digit divisor. So we're going to do the problem 627 divided by, let's go with 23. 627 divided by 23. As we go through our problem, the first thing we're going to do is divide. After that, we're going to multiply. Then we're going to subtract. We're going to follow that up with compare. And then we're going to bring down. And we're going to finish up with repeat or remainder. So divide, multiply, subtract, compare, bring down, repeat, or remainder. When I'm dividing, I'm going to start with the biggest place here, the hundreds place, the 6, and I'm just going to think in my head, or think about how many groups of 23 can I get from 6. I can't get any groups of 23 from 6, so I'm going to put a 0 there. If I put a 0 for my first one, I can go ahead and start thinking about now these first two, so 62. If I have, how many groups of 23 can I get from 62? Well, I think I can get 2, so I'm going to try 23 times 2. 3 times 2 is 6. 2 times 2 is 4. That's 46. And just for the sake of checking, I'm also going to try 3. So 23 times 3. 3 times 3 is 9. 2 times 3 is 6. This is too big. This works. So I can get 2 groups of 23 from 62. So I put my 2 at the top because I just divided. Now I'm going to multiply. And remember, we take the number that we just wrote here and we multiply it by the divisor. And I already did that multiplication work over here. So 23 times 2 is 46. After I multiply, then I subtract. From subtracting, we go top down. 2 subtract 6 I can't do. So I'm going to borrow from the 6. That's going to become a 5. 12 subtract 6 is 6. 5 subtract 4 is 1. Comparing, I just need to check to make sure this is less than my divisor, and it is. If it's bigger, that means I divided wrong, and I need to go back and check my division. So my next step then is to bring down the 7. Since I brought down, I'm going to repeat and go back through that whole process again. So now I need to see how many groups of 23 I can get from 167. And 23 is pretty close. If we round, it would be rounded 20. In 167, I'm going to think about this as 160. I know that's not perfect rounding, but 16 is an even number and 2 is an even number. So I'm going to think how many 2s can I get from 16, and that's 8. So I'm going to try 23 times 8 over here. 3 times 8 is 24. 2 times 8 is 16 plus 2 is 18, 184. That's too much. So I'm going to try 23 times 7. 3 times 7 is 21. 2 times 7 is 14. Plus 2 is 16. So that gives me 161. So that works. So I can get 7 groups of 23 from 167. Then I'm going to take the number that I just put up at the top and I'm going to multiply it by that divisor again. And since I already did that multiplication, 7 times 23 is 161. Then I can go ahead and subtract. 7 subtract 1 is 6. 6 subtract 6 is 0. 1 subtract 1 is also 0. The directions ask you to write your remainder as a fraction. So our remainder is 6. The divisor is 23, and the divisor is what becomes our denominator. So the correct answer for this problem would be 27 and 6/23. The second part of the practice is asking you to draw an area model to match your solution to problem 5. And so the first thing that they ask for is the area. And the area they have is the dividend. And the dividend is the numbers inside the division symbol here. So the area is going to be 627. And then the length, and they say the length is the divisor. So the length in this case is 23. Now, they want you to tell them what the width is. And so, for us, the width is going to be about 27, okay? And I'll show you how we're going to get there. So I'm going to look at this number here. This is in the tens place. Because it's in the tens place, the 2 is worth 20. I'm going to write a 20 over here. Then I need to know what 23 times 20 is. 23 times 20. So I've got 3 times 0 is 0, 2 times 0 is 0. I'm multiplying by the tens place. I'm going to put down my 0. 3 times 2 is 6. 2 times 2 is 4. So I'd get 460. Okay. Now, I'm going to look at this 7. Okay, 7's in the ones place, so that's worth 7. And now I need to figure out 23 times 7. 3 times 7 is 21. 2 times 7 is 14, plus 2 is 16. So that's 161. And then I couldn't do any more, so I have a remainder of 6. And I'm going to go ahead and separate those sections out. If we add these together, it should equal 627. So 0 plus 1 plus 6 is 7. 6 plus 6 is 12. 1 plus 4 plus 1 is 6. So it equals 627. On this side, we're going to add up the numbers on the outside. So 20 and 7 is 27. So the width is about 27. It's not exactly 27 because we have a remainder here, but the width is about 27. So that's how you do an area model for those problems. Okay, it's another one of the longer videos. Thanks for sticking it out. And that is the end of Unit 14. If you have a test coming up, hope you do a good job on it. And if there's still things that you're struggling with, as always, make sure that you ask your teacher for any help. See you in Unit 5.